Thought my husband was at work when I invited my secret lover over, but as we lay in bed, the front door slammed shut. I laughed, thinking it was the wind. Until I saw my husband standing in the doorway, holding my diary. I'm a 42-year-old woman from Butuan City, married to Raul, a 45-year-old civil engineer. We've been together for over 2 decades, raising our 2 children, Miguel and Sofia. Our life was stable, predictable even, until it wasn't. Raul's job often took him away from home, leaving me to manage the household and care for the kids. Over time, the distance between us grew, not just physically, but emotionally. Conversations became brief, affection dwindled, and I found myself feeling more like a roommate than a wife. Then came Daniel. Daniel was a friend from college who had recently returned to Butuan after years abroad. We reconnected at a local event, and our conversations flowed effortlessly. He listened, something Raul hadn't done in months. Our meetings became frequent, coffee at Margie's, walks along the riverbank, and eventually, afternoons at his apartment. Guilt gnawed at me, so I began journaling, writing about my feelings, the affair, and my confusion. I hid the diary beneath my clothes in our wardrobe, believing it was safe. One humid afternoon, believing Raul was at a site visit in Nazapit, I invited Daniel over. We lay in bed, the ceiling fan humming above, when the front door slammed shut. I laughed, attributing it to the wind. But then, Raul stood in the doorway, holding my diary. His face was a mix of rage and heartbreak. He threw the diary onto the bed, its pages fluttering open to my most intimate confessions. Daniel scrambled to dress, stammering apologies. Raul, voice trembling, asked, "How long?" I couldn't answer. Raul moved out that evening, taking Miguel and Sofia to his mother's house. The community buzzed with gossip. Friends distanced themselves, and I became a pariah in our tight-knit neighborhood. Daniel, overwhelmed by guilt, left Butuan. Alone in our once-shared home, I read through my diary, trying to understand my actions. I realized that seeking solace outside my marriage only compounded our problems. The diary, meant to be a private outlet, became the catalyst for our downfall. Months have passed. Raul and I communicate solely about the children. I've sought therapy, trying to rebuild myself and understand the choices I made. Trust, once broken, is hard to mend, but I'm committed to becoming a better person for myself and my children. After Raul left, the silence in the house was unbearable. Every room felt hollow. The kids' laughter, once filling the hallway, was gone. I'd sit at the kitchen table staring at the cold cup of coffee I'd made for no one. I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the moment Raul stood in the doorway, my diary in his hand. The look on his face wasn't just pain. It was betrayal, raw and deep. A week later, I found an envelope on my doorstep. No name, just my address written in shaky handwriting. Inside were printed screenshots of messages. My messages. To Daniel. Every one of them. Some were months old. They were from my deleted chat history. Private things. Intimate things. Things I didn't even write in my diary. My hands shook as I read them. Someone had access to either my old phone or hacked my accounts. The thought made my stomach turn. At first, I thought Raul had done it, but these messages included parts even I didn't remember saying. Things I wouldn't have sent in writing. One of the screenshots had a timestamp at 3:14 a.m. I was asleep next to Raul when that was supposedly sent. I confronted Daniel over the phone. He denied everything, said he deleted all our chats months ago. He sounded nervous, and honestly, I couldn't tell if he was lying or just scared. He promised to look into it. The next day, his phone was off. I haven't heard from him since. The next twist came at the grocery store. I was picking out rice when I saw a woman staring at me from the other aisle. She had on large sunglasses, even though we were indoors, but I recognized her. Mylene. Raul's coworker. They'd worked together on several projects over the years, and I used to joke about how she seemed to have a bit too much admiration for Raul. She walked past me slowly and said, "You should be more careful who you trust. Some people play the long game." Then she walked away. Her words stuck with me all day. That night, I dug through Raul's old documents and project files in the study. I was looking for any clue about why those messages had surfaced. At the bottom of one file cabinet, I found a USB stick, just labeled backup. I plugged it into my laptop. There were hundreds of images, documents, and audio files. One folder was named Maria. My hands went numb. Inside were recordings, voice notes, photos of me at Margie's cafe with Daniel, timestamps, and worse, a video. It was grainy, shot from a distance, but clearly showed Daniel and me walking into a hotel in Agusan Pequeño. The video was dated over 4 months before Raul found the diary. That meant someone had been following me, watching us, recording everything. I sat on the floor, shaking. My mind was racing. This wasn't just Raoul stumbling onto my diary. Someone had planted this. Someone had been feeding him information long before I knew I was even being watched. The next morning, I went to Raoul's temporary apartment. He wouldn't open the door. I shouted through it, told him I found the USB, and I needed to talk. That it wasn't just about the affair. That something else was going on. After a long silence, he finally opened it. He looked tired. Like he hadn't slept in days. I didn't put those cameras there, he said quietly. I didn't follow you. I stared at him. Then who did? He looked at me for a long time, then said, I think Mylene did. I didn't know what to say. He continued, she came to me 6 months ago. Said she saw you with Daniel. Gave me pictures. At first I didn't believe her. Then more things started coming. She always had proof. Messages. Videos. Said she was trying to help me. That she hated seeing a good man like me being lied to. My mouth went dry. She told me not to confront you yet. Said to wait. That you'd slip up. I didn't want to believe her. But I kept everything, just in case. I asked him why he didn't say anything earlier. He looked away. Because part of me hoped she was wrong. I kept watching you. Waiting for a reason not to believe it. Now everything made sense. The sudden door slammed that day. Him standing there with the diary. He hadn't just come home early. He was already on his way there because Mylene told him to go check. She must have read my diary too. But the biggest question was, why? Why would Mylene go through all that trouble? What did she want? Raoul looked at me then and said, she told me something else last week. She said if I don't file for divorce, she's going to send everything to your parents, to your church group, even to the kids' school. My heart sank. This wasn't just about an affair anymore. This was revenge. Manipulation. Mylene had been playing both of us like puppets. But what did she gain from this? I was about to ask Raoul that when he dropped another bombshell. She said she's pregnant. And it's mine. I stared at him, speechless. He didn't say anything else. Just closed the door in my face. I stood there, stunned, the heat from the morning sun baking my skin as the world around me blurred. This wasn't over. Not even close. I stood frozen outside Raoul's door long after he shut it. My mind couldn't catch up. Mylene? Pregnant? Raoul's child? That couldn't be real. Could it? I stumbled home, barely aware of the tricycle ride, the bumpy streets of Butuan, the dusty heat pressing against my chest like a hand squeezing too hard. I locked the door behind me and sat on the floor of our living room. My legs couldn't support me anymore. Mylene had manipulated everything. She had watched, tracked, and planted seeds of destruction. And now she was saying she was carrying Raoul's baby? The irony made me want to scream. She destroyed my marriage under the excuse of loyalty, while secretly having an affair with my husband. And Raoul just accepted it? I stayed up all night that night, reading my diary again, listening to every audio file on that USB, looking for missed clues. Something didn't sit right. The videos, the pictures, they were all so perfect. Too perfect. Nothing showed me doing anything beyond hugging Daniel in public places or entering places together. No clear sex. No audio of us talking about anything intimate. No kiss caught on camera. Yet the implication was there. What if they weren't real? I stared at one of the hotel videos again. I remembered that day. I did go to that hotel, but not with Daniel. I was meeting my cousin who was visiting from Davao. We had lunch in the cafe downstairs. It wasn't even the hotel shown in the video. The sign was blurred. The car wasn't mine. My hair was shorter in the video than it had been at the time. That's when it hit me. The videos were edited. Some were real, but others were stitched together, deep-faked, misrepresented. I called my cousin and asked if she still had the picture we took that day. She sent it immediately. There I was, sitting across from her, time-stamped and tagged at a different hotel cafe altogether. Same date as the video evidence against me. I was being framed. The next morning, I went back to Raoul's apartment. I didn't knock this time. I pounded on the door until he opened it, still half asleep. I shoved my phone in his face. You see this? This was the day you think I slept with Daniel in that hotel. That's my cousin. That's the real place I went. He looked confused. I explained everything. The inconsistencies, the mistakes, the timestamps, the edited footage. His expression changed from confusion to horror. Why would she, he asked, more to himself than me? I don't know, I whispered. But I think you need to ask her. That night, Raoul met with Mylene. I don't know exactly what was said, but the next day he showed up at my door again. His hands were shaking. She's not pregnant, he said. I stared at him. What? She lied. She showed me a fake sonogram. When I told her I wanted a paternity test, she flipped. Started yelling. Called me ungrateful. Said I owed her. That she gave me everything. I felt a chill run through my body. She admitted she sent you those messages. She cloned your phone months ago. She hired someone to follow you. She said she did it to wake me up. Said you never deserved me. That you were wasting my love. I didn't know whether to cry or scream. Raoul sat down, looked broken. I didn't sleep with her. I swear on our kids. I never touched her. She's obsessed. She's been obsessed for years. He pulled out his phone. Showed me old messages from Mylene. They went back years. Compliments. Subtle suggestions. Late-night check-ins. I could see the pattern now. She was grooming him. Slowly, methodically. You ignored her, I said softly. He nodded. Until she gave me proof. Of you. The weight of it all was too much. I slumped into a chair. We were both played. We were both betrayed. And now, everything we had, our family, our peace, was in pieces. But it didn't end there. That same week, I received a message from an anonymous number. It was just one sentence. You haven't even begun to pay yet. Attached was a photo of my daughter Sophia, taken just that morning, outside her school. My hands went cold. My fingers trembled as I stared at the photo of Sophia outside her school gate. The timestamp was from that morning. I had dropped her off myself. Someone was watching us again. This wasn't about the affair anymore. This was turning into something darker, twisted. I rushed to Raoul's apartment with the message. When he saw it, his face drained of color. He didn't say anything, just grabbed his keys, and we drove straight to the police station. We filed a report immediately. The officers took it seriously, especially once we showed them the past messages, the surveillance, the USB, the faked pregnancy, the photo of Sophia. But they warned us it could take time to trace an anonymous number. Time we didn't have. The next few days were tense. Raoul moved back in temporarily. For the kids' safety. We slept in separate rooms. The air between us was tight with unsaid words. Sophia and Miguel noticed. They were old enough to feel the tension, even if we didn't explain everything. Then the bomb dropped. That Sunday, at the parish center where I helped organize community outreach, I was setting up a table when I saw Mylene walk in. Uninvited. She wore a smug smile, makeup flawless, her phone in hand like a weapon. Before I could stop her, she walked up to the microphone meant for the program speaker. She tapped it twice and the static rang across the gym. I just wanted to say something, she began, her voice sugary sweet. Since we're all neighbors, it's only fair we talk about truth, right? I've been protecting a friend, Raoul, who was betrayed by his wife. She cheated on him, lied to him. And now, suddenly, I'm the villain. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Some people turned to look at me. I tried to step forward, but she raised her hand. You all think she's innocent now? She's playing the victim. But I have proof. She tapped on her phone. A speaker near her started playing audio clips. Edited snippets of Daniel's voice, me laughing, crying, saying things I might have said, but I knew what they were. Edited. Chopped. Manipulated. I'd had enough. I grabbed the mic from the table next to me and shouted over the noise. That's enough, Mylene. Everyone turned. My voice echoed through the room. You're obsessed. You've been obsessed with Raoul for years. You hacked my phone. You lied about a pregnancy. You've been stalking our family. More gasps. Raoul came running in, out of breath. He'd seen the live stream on someone's phone. She's telling the truth, Raoul said, voice loud and clear. I saw the evidence. Mylene, you sent threats. You filmed her. You put our kids in danger. Mylene's mask cracked. Her lips quivered. No, I was helping you. You were blind. She was cheating. You deserved better. You don't get to decide that, Raoul snapped. And I never loved you. Security escorted her out while the crowd murmured. Some looked at me with sympathy. Others still looked confused. But the silence that followed was louder than any voice. The fallout was fast. Mylene's boss suspended her. An investigation started. Raoul and I took the kids out of school for a week. We needed space. The night after the confrontation, Raoul and I sat on the porch. No yelling. No tears. Just quiet. I'm sorry, he said finally, for not trusting you sooner. For letting someone like her poison my thoughts. I looked at him, tired. I'm sorry too. For letting things get this far. For Daniel. For hiding. I don't know if we can ever go back. He nodded slowly. Neither do I. The next morning, he packed his things again. This time, it felt different. Not out of anger, but acceptance. The kids adjusted. It wasn't easy, but they were strong. We didn't pretend everything was fine. We talked. We answered questions honestly. A few months passed. I kept writing in a new diary this time, not hiding it. Just thoughts. No secrets. Sometimes Raoul visits. For the kids. Sometimes we share coffee. But not in the same house. Not anymore. I've learned things about myself I never wanted to learn. I've faced mistakes I wish I could undo. But I've also learned to protect my peace. And my children's peace. As for Mylene, charges are pending. Her obsession exposed her. She crossed lines that changed lives. But in the end, she lost everything. Raoul and I didn't reunite, but we found respect again. Not love, maybe not trust, but understanding. I don't know what the future holds. I still feel guilty. I still hurt. But I also feel clear, stronger, a little less naive. I'm not hopeful. I'm not broken either. I'm simply surviving. And for now, that's enough.